Steve,
All right.
if you want to start.
Brian, there's been a lot of change on the offensive line. Obviously, you lost a lot of good guys from last year, and new guys have come in the summer. They weren't here in the spring. So just tell us how that group is gelling. How much confidence do you have in what's going on there?
Yeah, earlier in the summer when they all got here, we put a huge emphasis on gelling the group because we knew nobody was here in the spring, didn't have that opportunity to gel. So they came in. Me and Craycraft are roommates, so we always made sure we had a pool at our apartment. Guys came over for the pool all the time. We always did a O-line dinner on Thursday nights, make sure that gelling. So we really built good relationships, good friendships, and that played really well into the OTAs we were doing to help us kind of mesh together in the summer as much as we could leading into camp. And now I feel like 6-7 days into camp, however long we are right now, we're meshing real well. And I'm really happy because we're a really close-knit group of guys, which seems kind of crazy to say after only two months.
Yeah.
But it's a really good group of guys, and we've come together really well. And I feel like we're getting this thing rolling, and I'm feeling confident in the run game. As we put more pads on, hit harder, go faster, it's really gelling well.
How's this fall camp different than the last 2 years?
Probably the offensive tempo.
Yeah.
Coach Brewer likes to go fast. He wants to go fast now. So kind of getting used to that. The conditioning, Coach really did a great job in the summer, obviously in the winter. And so just getting that used to that tempo, you run that play, you make that block, and get back on that line. We gain 2 yards, we're going. And so getting used to that compared to last year, when that was probably the biggest change.
That fast up tempo, what does that mean for the offensive line as far as like conditioning?
After play 6-7, you might be a little winded, but you know that defensive line's more winded than you, and it opens up those run lanes, pass lanes a bunch. It makes our jobs easier, even though we're out there, might be huffing and puffing a little bit on a 10-play drive, but at the end of the day, it makes our lives a whole lot easier. And in practice, we've been seeing it, and everybody's kind of noticing it, like, hey, like this stuff works, and it works really well.
Do some of the returners feel like you guys were already kind of preconditioned to it or had some experience because of how fast sometimes you guys would go with Riley last year?
A little bit, but not to this level. Because, there's times last year we just get in the huddle and run counter 5 times in a row, and then we go fast for 3 plays. But with Coach Brewer, we're going. So, yeah, some experience, but definitely. And then new guys coming in from tempo offenses also give us tips too, which is cool. That's been great, kind of getting outside perspectives on how to do this. And it's come together real well. And I think obviously Coach Philly's the best in the country, so we were all conditioned anyway.
Brian, Coach Brewer told us a few minutes ago that the emphasis in the red zone is running the ball into the end zone. As an offensive lineman, I know you love to run block. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, no, we take immense pride in that. You get the ball inside that 25-yard line, we should run it in. We should have no problem running it in. So, yeah, we take pride in that. We take pride in being able to pick up any twist, blitz, whatever, cover it up, and we know Starr, Quez, P. Jones back there are going to make us right, and they're looking real good so far.
Is there something that Graham Barden taught you or said to you last year that is really sticking with you this year that you're remembering, maybe whether it's a motto, a piece of advice, something like that?
Yeah, Graham was like my mentor from the beginning, somebody I really looked up to. And he always told me, you're not going to win every rep. You can't dwell on that one rep. Like, you're going to be the guy at some point. Guys are going to look up to you. You are going to lose a one-on-one rep, and you can't let that dwell on you, ruin the rest of your practice. You got to move on to the next play. So that'd probably be the biggest thing because everybody's looking at him. It's Graham Barton. He's going to be the #1 draft pick. Oh my God, he lost a one-on-one rep. But no, he never let that affect him. He was on the next play. So that's kind of the mentality I would say affected me most.
Has it helped you?
100%. Because I can get pretty emotional out there. I can get pretty fired up. So like to remind myself, calm down. Like it's not the end of the world. Next play. There's 70 plays in a football game. Can't let one ruin the other 65 plus.
Brian, last year you were named the team's offensive rookie of the year. Just when you think about last year and all those experiences you got, maybe some of them you were thrown into the fire a little bit, but what do you take away from last year to get better for this year?
Being able to trust in my coaching, being able to trust in my speed, strength, and athleticism, and know that I'm a good enough competitor to go against anybody. I got thrown in the fire a little more unexpectedly than anybody thought, but trusting my coaching, the mentors I had, those guys instilled that confidence in me, and so now I have that confidence to know I can go out there and do it time after time. And that's probably the biggest thing I took away from last year.
Was there a certain game where maybe you were on the field and you were like, oh my God, what's going on?
The second touchdown against Notre Dame was one I was kind of just in the zone out there, like making sure what we had film watch go over. But when Jomo scored that second touchdown, it just took a second. I was like, oh my God, like this is what's going on. So yeah, that was probably like the first time it hit me.
Coach Brewer mentioned, I'm sure the offense is fast, but there's also a lot of, it's very multiple. There's a lot of versatility.
Yeah.
How does that impact you from an offensive line perspective? Is it kind of interesting? What do you think about just something like that?
I mean, having 3-4 options for the ball to go somewhere, have an RPO where, you know, I don't have to worry about that safety blitzing, because if he blitzes, the quarterback's going to throw it right over his head to Jomo on a slant for 20 yards. Stuff like that. You know, there's always, like, whatever the defense brings at us, there's always a solution. Like, there's always somewhere for the ball to go. Then that's kind of like a peace of mind knowing that, like, you do your job, everybody does their job. The ball will go somewhere and it will be the right spot.
Maybe one more.
Over the past year, you've played with a bunch of different quarterbacks behind you. I imagine it's not easy to protect 4 different guys who all play differently and have different strengths and weaknesses. For you personally, on the offensive line, like, just what is that like behind you? Knowing you don't know who's going to be behind you, but you gotta make sure they're not getting touched or sacked or anything.
Yeah, we pride ourselves on being a huge family here. We love everybody. Everybody's part of that team. So, you know, I have the utmost faith in anybody back there, and so does everybody up front. You know, last year we had Henry, Riley, Grayson. I mean, no matter what, going to the game, we were confident that guy was going to play his game. Like, everybody had confidence in me going to that Notre Dame game. Everybody has confidence in our quarterbacks. We know we all train the same, do the same film, we're all the same team. So, you know, guys got strengths and weaknesses, so do I. So we all work together, and that's what that week of preparation is for.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Brian.